Okay then, if you haven't watched my previous video, then let me give you some insight. We are watching Season 2 of The Walking Dead and counting every single death. That is correct, my friend. Every human, animal, and walker will be added to the toll. You know them random bodies that are scattered everywhere in the show? Yep, they are also getting added. Why? Because I just hate having a social life. We recap the season, tally the deaths, and make some horrible jokes in between. It's that simple. If you want season 3, let me know with a comment, as I am more than happy to give up another month of my life. I also did purchase the Blu-ray as it was requested. However, I think I just got scammed instead. It's been shipping for 3 months. Where the hell is it? If you've watched this season, which I highly recommend you do, then please tell me what your opinion is on Laurie and Andrea. My opinions on them in the previous season is apparently controversial. As always, let me know what your death prediction is for The Walking Dead Season 2 down in the comments below. Now, without further ado, roll the intro. We open Season 2 just after the CDC exploded, with some doggies munching on a dead walker. Oh, and another dead one. Great. I have a feeling I'm gonna hate this. Ricky Doodar Grimes is trying to contact Morgan but has no luck. So unless you smuggled some E4 batteries out of the CDC, then please give it a rest. You're wasting the battery's battery life. You're wasting the radio's battery life. Rick starts monologuing and we get some scenes of the city and... No! Not the dog, anything but the dog. Take the children before the dogs.
The CDC was a dead end. I met a man there, a scientist. He told me something. He told me it doesn't matter.
Wait, Dr. Jenner was whispering. I thought he was giving you a goodbye, yeah, Nibble? I guess you only say that kind of stuff for your friends. This scene always makes me laugh. Not the kissing bit, but the part where Rick is trying to contact Morgan, because I remember that puppet video that came out years ago.
Losing hope that you can hear me. But there's always that chance, isn't there?
I hear you!
The CDC was a dead end.
Stop talking, Rick.
A scientist.
Rick, I have 5 minutes of battery left!
He told me
Rick, it's my...
it doesn't matter.
You said use the walkie-talkie!
We're facing a long, hard
I assumed you knew how to use it!
journey.
Rick tells his radio that they'll leave in the city to go to Fort Benning, which is a military base Shane wanted to go to. Whilst on the journey, Rick and Laurie start sharing their family memories with Carol and her daughter Sophia, who I don't believe I've introduced yet, as she hasn't been imported until now.
Can we go see it? The Grand Canyon? I'd like to.
I would too. Can we go?
Sorry, Sophia. In this economy, we can't afford to take you and your family to the Grand Canyon. I'm sure if you ask your dad, he will. Oh, sorry about that. I forgot about the whole... The road is blocked, so they slowly try and wiggle through past 3 dead bodies. When they try and figure out a way around the blockage, the Dawn RV breaks down, so they decide to search for supplies and hopefully find a way to fix the van.
This is a graveyard.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Oh, I'm sorry, Laurie. Let's just kaboosh! And now we're in a 5-star hotel. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but the RV is broken.
Alright, here we go.
Come on, yo. Just look around, gather what you can.
I love how awkward this is. Everyone looks at her and then completely ignores her. It's amazing. Laurie goes to search and stuff, but all she finds is a dead body, while Shane is finding water, which is fantastic.
Were we short on water?
Yes, we were. We ran out yesterday. Now let's move it into the RV for safekeeping.
It's like being baptized, man.
Oh, Shane, you fuckwit. That is such a waste. Dale sees the whole thing, so he pulls out his rifle and shoots Shane. That'll teach him to waste water. Joking. Shane is still alive, being a wasteful boss, and Dale finds something approaching. How did you not see that horde? Dale, you had one job and it was to keep watch. How did you let this horde get so close? Rick goes to warn everybody to hide, quickly passing 2 dead bodies, one on top of the car, the other on the floor. He tells Laurie to hide under the car, and what's that next to his feet? Everyone is hiding now, and how on God's green earth did this horde sneak up on you, Dale? You had one job. Andrea's still in the RV fixing a gun, oblivious to the horde outside. Only if somebody could have warned you. Maybe someone who's above you right now. No, not God, I meant Dale. Carol is freaking out, and Laurie helps by taking her ability to breathe. That's right, Carol. Go to sleep. How dare you let Sophia ask if she can come to the Grand Canyon with us? Do you know how expensive that is? T-Dog isn't hiding yet, as he's trying to sneak up on the horde, I think. Not sure what his plan is, but he ends up cutting his arm. He goes to run, passing another dead body. A walker goes for T-Dog. Luckily, Daryl swoops in and kills it. He then covers both of them with dead walkers. It's good they survived, but why did they need to do it next to more dead bodies? Alright. There are 5 right here, with another one hiding behind the bloodied but alive T-Dog. After Daryl puts a corpse over Theodore Douglas, we see the 7th body in between the cars, with the final being the one Daryl hides underneath. Andrea isn't as lucky. She's currently hiding in the pooper when a walker decides it needs to go. Dale does help by dropping down a screwdriver. Bearing in mind though, hand-to-hand against walkers is close to non-existent at this point. The only person we know who does it often was Morales, and he's a machine. So when Andrea drives the driver through the walker's skull, it is not only impressive, but it's also quite attractive. However, something that always gets under my skin about this scene, Andrea does a lot of screaming here, and I have no problem with that. If I was her, I would accept death. But after all that loud screaming is done, no other walkers approach. I thought they loved noise. The horde seems to be leaving, which is great, as long as nobody does anything stupid like leaving their hiding spot. For goodness sake. Sophia runs off into the forest with 2 walkers chasing her, so Rick follows. Well, that was smooth. Rick loses his rifle. When he catches up, he sees them walkers running after her. That's a shame. We were doing so well with walkers walking. It was nice while it lasted. I guess we should call them joggers again. Rick gets to her and puts her in a ditch so we can deal with them. The joggers try to size up to Rick instead of attacking. So Rick antagonizes them with a water fight. Once they're away, Sophia runs back to the highway. So Rick attempts to hide with the rock.
So what's my motherfucking name? What they're gonna get though? Desecration, defamation. If you wanna bring it to the masses, face to face, now we escalating. When I have to but boost the asses.
I don't know why I find this so funny. Rick just launches a rock at a walker, knocking it out. Back at the highway, Carl is looting a corpse as it has some tools.
I don't believe you're giving me the cold shoulder.
What you want? Weren't you the one who said, stay the hell away? Him and you?
You forget what happened at the CDC? Your little meltdown in the rec room slipped your mind when you tried
When I tried to what? What do you think that was?
I think it is pretty plain what that was.
A mistake.
I mean, Shane, buddy, you did try to, you know.
I love you.
It was a pretty big mistake. Daryl and Rick are now looking for Sophia, as it turns out she didn't make it back. They stumble upon a walker. Now they can proceed to gut it, checking its stomach for any Sophia, but instead find a bird?
This gross bastard had himself a woodchuck for lunch.
How the hell did it catch a bird? I can't even catch a bird. A walker's more competent than me. Andrea is demanding her gun back, but Dale is too scared in case she tries to play Russian roulette with a Barrett. She storms off as now she needs to entertain herself in another way. Rick and Daryl come back without Sophia.
How could you? How could you just leave her?
At least he tried. I didn't see you or anyone else chasing after her. In the morning, everyone gets suited and booted to carry out the search.
Keep an eye on Carl while we're gone.
I'm going with you.
Your call. I can't always be the bad guy.
No. Surely the answer is no. We cannot bring our 10-year-old son into the forest with monsters that eat your face.
Okay, but always within our sight, no exceptions.
It amazes me that Carl is the kid that's still here. They find a tent with another corpse inside and get interrupted with church bells ringing. Everyone rushes over, or rush over, whichever is correct, but it turns out the bells are on a timer. Inside the church are 3 walkers who are just sat down chilling, and I need to whinge about this scene. Does this mean the walkers walked in here, closed the door, took a seat and waited? Or does this mean that the people that were in here died at the same time, came back at the same time, and decided just to chill? Either way, it doesn't make sense. It also makes no sense that the walkers didn't react to the loud ass bell. Moving on. Rick, Carl, and Shane decide to hang back at the church to carry on the search for Sophia, while the others head to the RV. Daryl gives a gun to Laurie, and then later on, Andrea asks for it.
Here, take it. I'm sick of the looks you're giving me.
See, deal? Nothing to worry about. Oh shit. Well, Andrea's now dead. Just kidding. It would be kind of mad though if that's what happened.
I can't imagine what you're going through, and I would do anything to stop it, but you have got to stop blaming Rick. It is in your face every time you look at him. And when Sophia ran, he didn't hesitate, did he? I don't know that any of us would have gone after her the way he did, or made the hard decisions that he had to make, or that anybody could have done it any differently.
Go on, Laurie. Put Carol in her place. Kick her when she's down. Nobody talks to your man like that. Speaking of your man, he, Rick, and Carl spot a deer. Oh dear me, that's a lot of blood. We don't see the deer again, so... Rick is running with a lazy Carl, unconscious Carl, closely followed by Shane and the man who shot Carl, who's named Otis. He arrives at a farm of a man who's called Herschel, who is a vet and offers to help. Shane gets there shortly after and wipes ketchup off Rick's face. He's probably going to use it later for his fries, the greedy bastard. That was Rick's burger ketchup, still not over it. Back at the highway, Dale is taking parts from a car that has another corpse in. He then checks on T-Dog's wounds and it turns out to be infected, so he cuts his arm off. Okay, that might not be true. It is infected, so he gives him some drugs instead. Rick wants to tell Laurie what happened to Carl, but is too weak due to giving blood. Shane would go, but he's heading to a high school with Otis, so they can gather some equipment which will help keep Carl alive. So Herschel's daughter Maggie goes to find Laurie instead. The group are still walking through the forest when Andrea gets separated from the group due to spiderwebs, when a walker comes from behind a tree. But this walker must have just loaded in, as it appears from nowhere, or was standing there waiting for Andrea to struggle in the webbing. Andrea does a specialty which is screaming with her hands in the air. This takes me back to the goofy run of hers. Maggie comes out of nowhere with a trusty steed and beats the foul beast. She then takes Laurie back to the farm, giving directions for the others to follow. Wait, what's that I hear?
Shut up.
At the farm, Laurie checks on Carl and Rick gives more blood. Then Laurie asks Herschel about his experience.
As soon as they get back, you can perform this surgery.
I'll certainly do my best.
You've done this procedure before. You're a doctor, right?
Yes, ma'am. A vet.
A veteran, a combat medic.
A veterinarian.
And you've done this surgery before on what? Cows? Pigs? Completely in over your head, aren't you?
Laurie is giving me mixed feelings this season. 1 minute I'm Team Laurie, backing her up, but then she says some dumb shit like this and it just pisses me off. Shane and Otis arrive at the high school and straight away, I know I'm gonna hate this part. They pass a blurry body in the back of an ambulance, then wait until dark, before throwing a flare that distracts the walkers. They enter a medical center and start searching for supplies. When leaving, the walkers see them and the chase is on. Shane gets grabbed, so Sucker punches the walker, not counting as dead because he used his fist and not a gun. He does use his gun when they get cornered to shoot down the glass, then shut the gate, trapping them next to the horde. Ooh, I wonder how they both will make it out of this predicament. Episode 2 might have been short, but episode 3 is something else. Shane is showering and cutting his hair, which is good news as now we know he makes it back from the school. We get pushed back in time to Otis and Shane running through said school, which makes me feel like the whole staring down the walkers being trapped at the end of the last episode was just there for a cool shot. Once again, I need to mention, these are not walkers, these are joggers. Some of them can probably outrun me at this point. Shane and Otis are now stuck on top of a wall or something. Otis tells Shane to cover him when he jumps down, then he'll drag the walkers away so Shane can escape. Plan seems simple enough. Oh geez, Otis, that looks painful. He gets grabbed, so Shane shoots a shotgun at his foot. It hit the walker, but like, that was a risky play. Otis runs off, and luckily for him, the joggers are now walking again. Shane drops down, running to the window, and alerts 3 walkers.
It's gotta be the brain.
Y'all know nothing?
Bloody hell, that's a big drop. When lowering himself, a walker grabs him, so Shane kills a walker, resulting in him falling. Great. Now both he and Otis have messed up ankles. Daryl goes to head out in the middle of the night to look for Sophia as Carol is crying, and Andrea decides to join. Not to help with the search, she's just sick of hearing Carol. Glenn? I struggle with the name Glenn. I struggle with the name Glenn. Maybe I'm just stupid, I don't know. Glenn arrives at the farm with T-Dog and Maggie. The incredible woman that she is greets them. Laurie tells Rick that she thinks it's best if Carl dies. So Rick, the loving husband he is, shoots Carl. As what Laurie wants, Laurie gets. I need to stop making these shooting jokes.
You really think it'd be better if Carl, if we just gave up?
Tell me why. Tell me why. Tell me why. Maybe this isn't a world for children anymore.
Shane is still at the high school, headshotting walkers, until he gets pinned against a fence, when the man, the myth, the legend, comes to save the day. Unfortunately, they both run out of ammo in their mains, so it's pistols only for now. Too bad we get thrown back to the farm where we see Laurie and Rick rushing into a room.
Where are we?
You're not dead!
I've never been...
He's turning! Quickly shoot him!
Seizure.
Oh, right, a seizure. That makes more sense. Rick ends up giving more blood as Shane and Otis are taking their sweet time. Daryl and Andrea are still out looking when they stumble upon another camp, except this one has company.
I think there's someone hanging right there.
Yes, there is, Lug Andrea. Except I have to blur it, as for some strange reason, YouTube doesn't like this sort of thing. A walker is hanging around the campsite. Boo! When Andrea asks Daryl to put it down, which I find is quite mean.
You wanna live now or not? Just a question.
An answer for an arrow.
Actually, they're called bolts, not arrows, so... Oh, okay then.
I don't know if I want to live, or if I have to, or it's just a habit.
My itchy ass.
Dale is wandering the highway, and the only reason I'm mentioning this at all is because there's a dead body in this car. Shane and Otis are making their great escape, but they keep falling over due to, you know. When running, well, limping, they shoot some walkers, and there are some walkers on the floor already, so let me just add them to the toll. Carla's losing too much blood, so they're prepping for surgery, as it looks like Shane and Otis aren't coming back with the equipment. Then Shane pulls up with the gear, which makes me think he was just waiting for a dramatic entrance. Herschel asks where Otis is, and Shane gives him a great response.
Otis?
A radiator hose.
That's me. We say nothing to Patricia. Not till after. I need her.
A radiator hose.
He then tells Rick that Otis stayed behind to cover him, but he was overrun by the horde, which sounds believable, so let's not question it. Daryl and Andrea arrive back at the RV, and Dale gives Andrea her gun back. Carl is getting better now thanks to Shane and Herschel, so Shane takes a victory shower. We then get a flashback to the high school, where they proceed to kill 4 more walkers. The walkers are gaining on them, so Shane makes the ultimate sacrifice by shooting Otis in the leg. He gets eaten alive, so I'll add him to the toll. Episode 4 opens with a rocky start. Get it? Rocky start? If that's not worth a subscribe, then I don't know what is. The gang officially move onto the farm. They attend Otis's funeral, and Shane gives a speech where he talks about how Otis saved him by staying behind, which, technically, now hear me out, technically wasn't a lie. Sure, it's surrounded by a load of other white lies, but that's not the point. They pull out a map so they can look for Sophia, but Daryl is the only one that can go because... Rick has gave too much blood, Shane's ankle is still banged up, T-Dog is recovering from his infection, Dale is keeping guard, Laurie is useless, Carol is upset, Glenn is going to town with Maggie, Carl is being lazy in bed, and Andrea doesn't want to help. I think that covers everyone. Herschel asks that no one carries on his land, so Shane requests,
Request one rifleman on lookout. Dale's got experience.
You picked Dale? Come on, Dale? Really? After the highway, I wouldn't trust him to keep watch. Poor guy needs glasses. Daryl heads away when Rick asks,
You okay on your own? Or I'll be back for dark.
Hey, we got a base. We can get this search properly organized now.
You got a point? We're just chatting.
My point, it lets you off the hook. You don't owe us anything.
I'm confused. When was Daryl on the hook? So far, he's done nothing wrong. Herschel tells Rick that once Sophia is found, he wants them to leave. Laurie gives Glenn a list and tells him to look for pregnancy tests in secret. Ooh, I wonder who the father is. Me personally, I think it's Dale. Speaking of, he's investigating the well when he spots a walker. Everyone's discussing how to deal with it, since killing it will contaminate the water. Not gonna lie, even if they got it out, I wouldn't drink from that. Especially since they have 5 wells.
What's the water situation here?
Got 5 wells on our land.
They dangle their meat in front of the walker, but it's not interested. So this looks like a job for... By the way, if it's requested enough and I do end up covering all the seasons, I will make this joke at least once each time. The new plan is to lower him down so we can tie a rope around the walker, then everyone can pull it up. But what I want to know, what was the original plan? For the piece of meat to tie the rope around the walker. The support for Glenn falls, which means it's panic time. They fight to pull him up, and when they do, it turns out he managed to put the rope around the walker, somehow. They yank it up, but when it gets to the top it becomes blurry. I mean splits in half, which fully contaminates the water.
Should seal off this well.
No, really? You don't want to drink from that? Now they have another problem to deal with. Never mind. I guess that problem had an easy solution. Glenn and Maggie arrive into town and start searching the store. Glenn gets caught in a secret mission, so needs to give a good cover-up story.
What you got?
Nothing, just... I said general stuff.
Condoms.
Don't worry, you're a smart guy. You can say that for your friends.
You got a girlfriend I don't know about?
I mean, no.
Then you're a pretty confident guy.
Glenn, say that for your friends.
No. I wasn't, I would never...
Something wrong with me?
Just say that they're for Rick and Laurie.
I would never have sex.
Same here, Glenn. Same here.
I walk a lonely road, the only one that I have ever known.
Ladies and gentlemen, before, when I said Glenn was going to town, I meant Glenn was going to town.
I'll have sex with you.
Rick knows.
That's Glenn, our go-to-town expert.
Yeah, he is.
Hey, you're fast on your feet and know how to get in and out.
Yeah, he is.
What's the water situation here?
Sounds like it's flowing at the minute, Dale. Alright, I'm done. That last joke was disgusting and I apologize. Rick asks Herschel if the group can stay, and Herschel says, maybe. Glenn arrives back and look at that smile. Forget T-Dog, it's Glenn Dog now. I'm so bloody stupid. Daryl comes back to give Carol his flower. No, not that type of flower.
Cherokee Rose. The story is that when American soldiers were moving Indians off their land on the Trail of Tears, the Cherokee mothers were grieving and crying so much because they were losing their little ones along the way. Exposure and disease and starvation. A lot of them disappeared. So the elders, they said a prayer, asked for a sign to uplift the mother's spirits, give them strength, hope. The next day, this rose started to grow right where the mother's tears fell. I'm not fool enough to think there's any flowers blooming for my brother, but I believe this one bloomed for your little girl.
I think she would appreciate more if you brought back a daughter, but a flower can do for now. And the winner of Yapper of the season goes to Daryl Dixon, who gives us a completely bullshit story to sound poetic or some shite. On a different note, people say that Daryl was an asshole in the earlier seasons, but so far, I've only seen him do good. Carl finally wakes up, the lazy ass, and Rick gives him his iconic hat. Laurie takes a pregnancy test and finds out she's pregnant. I wonder when the father will find out. Episode 5 opens in a flashback where Shane, Laurie, Carl and Carol's family, they're all stuck in traffic trying to get into Atlanta, back when Atlanta was a thing. Some helicopters fly over and end up bombing the city. And you know what? I am not counting anyone here to the toll, as no one dies on screen. As I always say, if I cannot see them, I will not count them. Plus, what number would I even add here? 10? A million? Back to the present, the group are organizing search teams, but more importantly, Glendog is dropping some cool game onto Maggie.
You know, we still have 11 condoms.
Yeah, you see 11 condoms, I see 11 minutes of my life I'm never getting back.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Rick and Shane are in the woods looking for Sophia. They're sharing stories when Shane mentions they should stop looking for Sophia as it's putting others at risk. Daryl doesn't care though. He's on a horse killing a squirrel. He finds a doll so goes to look in the area for her when suddenly his horse gets spooked by a snake which sends Daryl tumbling down a hill. On the fall, an arrow gets tucked inside of him. He goes to climb back up but then falls again, except this time he decides to take a nap as this is really hard on Daryl. He sees a strange man approaching, and it's Mill! Remember Mill? The guy Daryl abandoned in Atlanta? You know, his brother. The guy he only spent half a day looking for. To put it in perspective, this is Daryl's 5th day looking for Sophia. Mill tells him,
"When I picked you up as a kid, these boys wanted to eat you, eating away your brain like maggots. They ain't never tasted tearing before."
Then he starts biting his shoe. Oh wait, that's a walker. It turns out Mill isn't here. Daryl might have the best plot-proof shoes I've ever seen. Imagine if that walker went for his leg or something. Who knew having a foot fetish would be so helpful in the zombie apocalypse? Using the motivation Mill gave him, a fight happens between Daryl and the walkers, but unfortunately for Daryl, the walker brought his boy to back him up. So he plays dirty by ramming a stick through the first walker's skull and then shoots the walker friend with his bow. He then for some reason cuts off the walker's ears and wears them around his neck. To this day, don't know why he did that. He successfully climbs up the hill and Andrea is now on watch, which some may see as a problem, but Dale was bloody useless, so I say good on her. Glenn tells Dale that he and Maggie fornicated. Andrea sees a walker so she alerts the group. See, Dale? That's how you do your job. The guys go deal with it when suddenly they realize...
Is that Daryl? It's the 3rd time you pointed that thing on my head. You gonna pull the trigger or what? I was kidding.
Andrea shot Daryl. Yep, take that smile off your face and give the gun back to Dale. I get it, she wants to be one of the guys, but come to fuck. She literally sees them talking to the supposed walker. Yes, it's blurry, but she can see them staring at each other. And if she can't even see that, then that's a bigger reason not to shoot. On top of that, there's literally no reason to shoot. The problem's already been dealt with.
But look at him. What the hell happened? Look, he's wearing ears.
Hey, we even judge your divorced middle-aged white dad dress sense, so don't go around targeting others. Look at Rick stealing it. Everybody wants the "you're no class" style. While Herschel stitches up Daryl, Andrea's outside waiting.
Don't be too hard on yourself. We've all wanted to shoot Daryl.
Why? Seriously, can anyone in the comments let me know why statements like this keep getting made? It's going way over my head. Everyone sits down for dinner and it makes me so uncomfortable. The silence. And it is a loud silence. It gets so much worse when Glenn tries to break the ice.
Does anybody know how to play guitar? Somebody's gotta know how to play.
I just did.
Glenn's in luck apparently. Maggie likes that kind of thing, and she wants to meet him for some brown chicken brown cow. Glenn heads to the barn for the best 11 minutes of his life, but when he gets there, he finds out Maggie is into some freaky stuff. Laura and Carl are feeding chickens when Carl asks where the mother is. But we don't need to wait too long to find out, as this lady, whose name I've already forgotten, feeds it to the barn walkers. Well, she feeds 3 chickens to the walkers, so... Glenn is staring at the barn, and Maggie comes over to tell him to stop making it obvious. It turns out that they aren't there for Maggie's secret fetish. The Greene family just don't kill walkers. Andrea goes over to Daryl and apologizes for...
I'm so sorry. I feel like shit.
You and me both.
I don't expect you to forgive me, but if there's anything I can do...
You're trying to protect the crew. We're good.
I would love to see Daryl and Andrea form a romantic couples relationship, as I think they just work together. From them together in the forest to now, in my head they just work. And I don't even like Andrea.
But hey, shoot me again, you best pray I'm dead.
Rick and Shane offer to give everyone some gun training. When talking it over, Shane goes to Carl and finds out he's packing heat. He snitches on Carl, which is so not cool, dude.
Well, it's my fault. I let him into the RV. He said he wanted a walkie. Did you send him for one?
So on top of everything else, he lied.
He lied? He lied? How could he lie? Kids lying? Eek. I never saw this in a million years. This is a true apocalypse right here. Also, where do you get off talking about lying? Oh wait, I know exactly where you get off, right underneath Shane. Sorry, that was a low blow. But Laurie would know all about low blows, wouldn't she?
I don't want my kid walking around with a gun.
How do you even know he's your kid? It might be Shane's. Wait. What I meant was, how do you even know he's your kid? It might be Rick's and Shane's. Boom! Get burnt, Laurie.
You can't let him go around without protection.
Don't worry, he's not at that age yet. When he is, Glenn has 11 left. Oh, you meant a pistol. Right, I knew that. Let's just cut to the chase. Carl ends up getting trained, and Glenn stays behind and tells Dale everything, to Laurie being preggo and the barn full of walkers. Dale confronts Herschel about this, the barn part, not Laurie being pregnant. Unless... Herschel tells Dale to
mind your damn motherfucking business, bitch!
Later on, Laurie and Herschel talk, and this is when Laurie finds out the farm isn't permanent. So, she goes to talk to Rick about this.
Herschel expects us to leave. Does anybody else know?
Not yet.
I don't understand how you could keep something like this from me.
Guess what? You're a bitch.
She then asks Glenn to run into town, so of course he asks Maggie to join. They discuss the barn full of walkers and how they're just sick people, because that makes sense. Don't you just hate it when you catch a cold, then feel the urge to eat grandma? Maggie helps Glenn look for whatever it is Laurie wants. When Luton, a walker, attacks, Glenn comes to save the day. But wait, what does Glenn do in this situation? Does he A. use his machete to kill the walker? B. shoot Maggie in the leg so he can escape with the supplies? C. watch the walker eat Maggie? Or D. rip a shelf off the wall, which in turn delays more time and puts Maggie at further risk? Quickly, lock in your answer below. You have 5 seconds. You guessed B, then you are wrong. It was D. Rip a shelf off the wall, which in turn delays more time and puts Maggie at further risk. This doesn't kill the walker, thus making it pointless. But do you know what does kill the walker? That's right, a machete! Maggie and Glenn return home and are not happy with Laurie, as they risk their lives for some baby go-go pills. Shane and Andrea pull up to some house and estate to look for Sophia. They start searching houses when they come across some bodies, and this is a count I got. They head to the garage and find some skeletons. I've only added 4 to the toll here due to not being able to tell what's what. Some walkers start approaching, which means the toll is going to get even higher. I hope this makes you happy. Shane puts down the 3 walkers by the car, when Andrea struggles to take down one. So, Shane does it for her. Another walker gets close, but this time he doesn't help. So Andrea deals with it herself. Oh no, she's blood hungry. Thank God they're leaving. There's been a lot of deaths already this season. Andrea goes to the car, but instead decides to cut away. Too bad, I really wanted to count some more bodies. Oh wait, I can. But if we cut back, we can say there are 14 walkers on the ground. But I've only added 8 to the toll, so let me just... Glenn gives Laurie some Glenn gives Laurie some vitamins, which makes Laurie's decision even harder. Speaking of hard things, Shane and Andrea have some pre-marriageable intercourse, and then head back to camp, which completely throws my Daryl and Andrea hopes out the window. Dale instantly gets jealous or protective or something. I never understood this dynamic between them. Is he meant to be a romantic interest? If so, ew. Is he meant to be a father figure? Then still, ew. Dale asks Shane to leave, then confronts him about his evil doings, first being Otis. Then he mentions that time when he had a gun on Rick, so Shane reasons with him by saying, if you keep going, you're next. Back with Laurie, she decides to take them go-go pills, then throws them up. Rick finds the empty packet, so he goes to talk to Laurie about it. It's a long conversation which I'll sum up. Why did you not tell me about this? You lied to me for weeks. I didn't want to tell you because I'm a good person. Also, I had a ride on the Shaninator. Okay, it might not went down exactly like that, but I'm not far off.
Is there anything else I should know about?
Shane and
I know. You thought I was dead, right?
Yeah.
Glenn tells the group about the Walker barn, so now everyone has a choice. Leave the farm and abandon Sophia, which I'm not saying I would do, but the other option is to let Rick talk to Herschel. Glenn goes to apologize to Maggie, as she told him to keep her kink barn a secret. I've just realized, if you haven't seen The Walking Dead before, and you're experiencing it for the first time via this video, you're gonna think that Maggie is some kind of sick freak. Good. Daryl goes to head out to search for Sophia, but Carol tells him to stay because he's injured, and Sophia is probably dead. And Daryl's like, bitch? Then throws a tantrum. Dale hides the guns because he finds out Andrea likes Shane, and Rick talks to Herschel.
We found the barn.
I need you
And I miss you.
and your group gone by the end of the week.
My wife's pregnant. Think about what you're doing.
I thought about it. I thought about it.
Think about it again.
Maggie quotes some scripture which convinces him to let the group stay. Rick then tells Shane that Laurie's pregnant, which seems like a conflict of interest, but who am I to judge? Shane then goes to talk to Laurie about the baby as it is his kid, which shocks me. I thought Dale was the father.
How many times has he saved your life? I want to know how many times, because, see, by my account, I've saved your life. So I just want to ask you, how many times has Rick saved
That
your life?
night at
Just
the
tell
camp.
me.
That night at the camp after the fish fry.
That was me too.
Oh, you mean that time when you were surrounded and close to dying, but then Rick came with the guns and killed the walkers? Yeah, that was all you. It's not like you had the Morellatron with you or anything, which, by my account, killed more walkers than you.
You see, Rick, he showed up late because he went on a suicide mission over nothing. He joined in. But see, we wouldn't have been in that situation if he hadn't left.
Ah, yes, that makes sense. You wouldn't be in that situation at all, because you'd be dead. You and Dale were the only ones with guns. Rick had his revolver, which only had 4 bullets, as you pointed out.
4 men, 4 rounds. What are the odds, huh? Well, let's just hope that 4's your lucky number.
You know what did help though? Guns! So his little mission with none ended up saving your life.
Rick told me.
Told you what?
I know the reason why you didn't. It's because you know it's mine.
It's Rick.
Okay, Lord, it's mine. You
You're
know
wrong.
it is.
You're
You know
wrong.
it's.
You're wrong. But even if it's yours, it's not gonna be yours. It's never gonna be yours. And there's nothing you can do to change that.
What do you mean even if it's yours? Why did you say that? You could have just said it's Rick's, but no. You wanted to add the whole.
But even if it's yours.
Shane starts searching the RV for guns as he's unaware that Dale's hidden them, so he tracks him down somehow. Dale pulls a gun on him, and this annoys me so much. Not because he points a gun at him, it's because you can see the tip imprint on Shane's shirt from previous takes. It's a small thing, but I notice it every time. Dale lets him take the weapons, which makes this whole interaction pointless. While this is happening, Herschel's asking for some help with a walker problem. He makes a deal with Rick that all walkers from now on need to go into the barn, which is unfortunate timing as Shane just got back to the farm and arms everyone. So when Rick comes back with a walker on a leash, Shane isn't too happy.
These things ain't sick. They're not people. They're dead. A living, breathing person. Could they walk away from this? Stop! 3 rounds to the chest. Someone who's alive, could they just take that? Why is it still coming? That's its heart. It's lungs. Why is it still coming?
If walkers are in fact dead, does that mean I don't need to add them to the toll when they die a second time? Also, can you even kill something that isn't alive? Ah, screw it. I've already started, so I may as well continue. Realistically, how many more walker deaths can be in the show?
That is enough.
Shane opens the bar, releasing the trapped walkers, and there are so many cuts here between the walkers getting shot and the group shooting, so I'm just going to count the aftermath to correctly add all the deaths. Not gonna lie, lost respect for the group here. Spawn camping is kinda cringe. There is 1 walker left in the barn, which is slower than the rest for dramatic effect. Sophia! Thank God we found you! I bet Carol's over the moon! Wait, Carol, why are you crying? We found Sophia! Is it because she's walkified? Oh wait, that means I need to. But Carol, I've got some good news. This means that the Grimes family can now afford to take you to the Grand Canyon, so yay! Hold on a second. So you're telling me that every time this lady fed the walkers, she didn't notice a child? I'm smelling some cow dung, and not for the pleasure. Yes, Rick put her down. He made the hard choice again, as no one else was going to. Rick, she's dead. There's no need for that. As I was saying, Rick stood up and did what needed to be done, putting Sophia down. Rick, what is wrong with you? She's dead already. Let her rest. Episode 8 continues right after Rick put 20 rounds into Sophia's skull, which surprised me as I expected a time jump. Beth goes to a walker who I think is her grandma, but it's still alive. I bet you thought I forgot to add it to the toll last episode. You were wrong. The group decide to wrestle over the walker instead of shooting it, for some reason. I mean, I know why Rick didn't shoot it. He used all of his ammo last episode. But someone else could have. Andrea picks up the scythe and deals with the grandma. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but thank God Andrea was here to save the day. Herschel asks for Rick to leave now that they found Sophia. Well, kind of found her. You get my point.
Thought I'd find her. I mean, me. That I'd be the one. Like, maybe she was hiding somewhere in a cave or a tree. I'd find her and bring her back.
Well, you were wrong.
He did the right thing. Shooting her like that. I would have done it too.
Someone get that kid a restraining jacket immediately. They bury the bodies and have a funeral. Later that day, Maggie asks Glenn to stay, and then Beth faints. Seems a bit racist, but okay. Rick finds out Herschel has made a run out to the nearest bar, so Glenn and Rick go after him. Daryl tells Laurie that she thinks Shane killed Otis, which is right on the money, but his reasoning is so stupid.
I think he killed Otis.
Otis was killed by walkers.
He knew how to handle walkers. Otis was the one who was putting him in the barn.
You need to be really clear with me right now. What are you saying?
I believe that Shane sacrificed Otis.
Yes, he knew how to deal with walkers that are alone. At the school, there were more than a few at once, so it's not much of a valid point. Back with Glick, or Ren, Glenn discusses his love life with Maggie, and Rick's all like, don't let any of Shane.
Yeah, boy.
Maggie says she loves me. I've never had a woman say that to me before. You know, except my mom, of course, and my sisters. But with Maggie, it's different.
I would bloody hope so.
Rick, I know about Laurie for being pregnant.
It's because Glenn's a father. Beth is still ill at the thought of Glenn staying. Okay, that's a joke. I'm pretty sure the white farmers who isolate themselves from the world and hate guests aren't racist. Since Beth is still ill and getting worse, Laurie asks Daryl to fetch Herschel back. And considering Rick just left, I think that's a dumb thing to ask.
You want to fetch him yourself. I got better things to do.
What's the matter with you? Why would you be so selfish?
Selfish? Listen to me, Olive Oil. I was out there looking for that little girl every single day. I took a bullet and an arrow in the process. Don't you tell me about me getting my hands dirty. You want those two idiots? Have a nice ride. I'm done looking for people.
Now, I might not agree with Daryl's wording here.
Olive oil?
However, he's 100% correct. Calling Daryl selfish is so ridiculously foolish, it makes Laurie look even worse. Also, you asked him to bring Rick and Herschel back. Are you forgetting someone, Laurie? Maybe you do belong on this farm. She decides to go after them herself, which is a disaster waiting to happen. She instantly hits a walker and then swerves into a flip. Rick and whoever this guy is enter the bar and convince Herschel to come home when two men follow behind. They all have a drink and get to know each other.
Not bad, huh? I got it off a cop.
I'm a cop.
Please be dead, 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 please be dead. Damn it. The walker Laurie hit is seeking revenge, so she puts a metal thing through its eye. She exits the car when another walker comes from behind. Now, you would expect her to bite her here, but nope. It would rather try and steal her jacket, so in retaliation, she shoots it. Rick, Glenn, and Herschel go to leave the bar when a car pulls up and it's the friends of the people Rick just shot. And these people must be straight out of a video game. They talk so loud everyone can hear them.
Wanna rush the door? No, we don't know how many are there, just relax.
They ask if their friends are in there, so Rick snitches on himself by saying he killed them. I would have just lied and said what friends, but hey, that's me. They shoot up the bar, which like, of course they do. He just admitted to killing their friends. Back at the farm, people are wondering where Laurie is, so Carol speaks to Daryl, and he tells her that she went after Rick and Herschel. That's someone else who clearly doesn't care about Glenn. Shane goes after her as he doesn't care about anyone else. See, I respect that. He doesn't care equally. Rick tells Glenn to run for the car and pull it around back, but don't worry, the old drunk guy will cover him. Damn, none of these people care if he lives or dies. Herschel shoots someone who is still very much alive. You may be wondering how I know that. I used some detective work and figured it out. I looked at something very subtle to find out he was breathing. You hear that? That's called being in agony. Rick checks on Glenn, then they get fired at some more. The sniper goes to make an escape, but then ends up taking a big fall, so he gets left behind. The dude that was shot is now a buffet for some walkers. Herschel does try and help by killing one of the 3 walkers eating him, but then leaves, so the other 2 just get to enjoy. I can't show this scene. I mean, I did try, but each time I uploaded, YouTube gave me wrong, as apparently they don't like someone getting eaten alive. Ugh, talk about freedom to eat, am I right, guys? They go to check on the fallen sniper, as it appears he's rather stuck. Herschel tries to figure out a way to set him free, while the others cover him. They decide just to yank him off. Whoa, that sounds a bit weird. Shane pulls up on Laurie and tells her that everyone's home now, so there's no reason for her to head into town. Another scene I wasn't going to mention, but now I have to due to a corpse, is Carol goes to check on Daryl and finds some animals hanging. I don't even know what this is, and I think Carol is as confused as I am, but it's getting added to the toll anyway, as I'm pretty sure it's bones. Laurie returns home when she finds out Shane lied to her about everyone being back.
Hey, Laura, I will go after him. I will find him. Hey, look, first things first, I gotta look after you. I gotta make sure the baby's all right, okay?
You're having a baby? Why didn't you tell me?
Isn't it past your bedtime or something?
I am so sorry that I left without telling you.
It's okay. I wasn't scared.
Seriously, someone needs to check on this kid. His mother went missing in an apocalypse, and he said, don't worry about it.
Must have a lot of questions. We never had the talk.
What talk? The next day, the boys arrive back with company. The gang now need to choose what to do with this guy who's called Ralph. Kill him or set him free, which is a stupid decision as they brought him here so he didn't die. After some time passed, Rick and Laurie are in front of the tent when Laurie says this.
We need to talk about Shane. He thinks the baby's his. No matter what, it's yours. He's delusional and he's dangerous. When I went looking for you, he came after me. He lied to me, get me back here. Said you were already back. He's threatened Dale and Herschel. He's scaring people. He's scaring me. And I think he killed Otis. I think he did it not just to save Carl, but because he loves me.
But you don't know that.
And he thinks that we're supposed to be together.
I killed 2 people myself because of you and Carl and the baby. It was gonna be me and not them, no matter what.
You killed the living to protect what's yours?
That's right.
Shane thinks I'm his. He thinks the baby's his.
Again with your wording. Just say the kid's Rick's and leave it at that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Laurie has just asked Rick to kill Shane, which is very important information for the rest of the season. The opening to this episode is quite dramatic, with Ralph crawling towards a knife. His hands are bound, and Shane is running from the dead. When we then get pushed back to present day, where Rick gives Shane the talk.
Thought we were going further.
We are 18 miles out.
He said it. He said it.
You don't think I can keep Laurie or Carl safe? I didn't say that.
Well, you kinda did.
How many times has he saved your life?
That night at the camp. That night at the camp after the fish fry.
That was me too.
Rick tells Shane that his family is his family and not Shane's family, if you get me, my family.
It was just a couple weird stories on the news, and it was so quick. Everything that just happened. 2 weeks later, I'm in the hospital, and there were soldiers shooting people in the halls. They were shooting people, man, not walkers. You know, I tried to get you out. I tried, but we weren't gonna make it. But I couldn't live with you. I couldn't live knowing, but I had to. I didn't keep Laurie and Carl alive, man. They kept me alive.
That's why I irked your wife. Side note, in this scene, Shane looked so similar to that Red Dead Redemption character, and if anyone's played the game, I think you know who I'm talking about. While they were talking, Ralph was in the back of the car. As it turns out, they are going 18 miles out, then releasing him into the wild.
Did Rick say anything to you about Glenn when they got back from town?
He said it had gotten pretty bad.
It's not the same. Says he froze, blames me, says I got inside his head.
Tell him to man up and pull himself together.
Sexist?
Just don't say man up. It never goes well.
Touche. Rick and Shane pull up to the drop-off point, then decide to get the walkers' attention by cutting themselves, for some reason. They could just make noise, but hey, what do I know? Rick kills this walker, and when the other approaches, they cut away. We don't see anyone kill it, but we later see both bodies, so... He then approaches some burned bodies, so once again, let me try and figure out how many are here.
A few inches later.
Alright, I counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I wasn't sure if I got the correct amount here, so I got a second opinion from someone I work with, but all they did was report me to HR, so I'm sticking with 6. From now on, I'm going to the YouTube community tab. They dump Ralph off and throw down a knife so he can escape once they've left. But when leaving, he mentions that he knows Maggie and the farm. Shane tries to...
Shane, no!
Rick wants to take him home. However, Shane says something that triggers a feeling inside of Rick.
Think you can keep them safe?
You would think they fight here, but nope, they hug it out as these two are BFFs.
We're best friends forever, side by side, me and you.
Oh, that's a bit rough. Oh, it turns out they are fighting. Gosh, how silly do I look? I made a whole musical and everything. Anyway, I guess I should show the fight in the style of...
Round 2, fight.
You're not doing this!
You don't get to make these calls anymore. I won't let you.
Finish it.
Walkers start pouring out the window after Shane threw a shovel through it. Rick stabs one in the head then puts it over him as he's needing some emotional support right now. That fight was really hard on his mental state. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, they're back. Say goodbye to your used walkers and say hello to joggers as they have returned and are now chasing Shane down. One jogger separates from the chase and goes for a quick snack break. Ralph don't want to be no sweet treat though. He cuts himself free of the knife Rick left him and deals with the walker. Rick finds his gun then... Did that mother ucker just smack the gun? Let me slow-mo that shit. He did! Rick went to shoot and he said, nope. Joke's on him. The last one piles on, so Rick decides to improvise.
Oh, God, it's so good. So good and tasty.
Shane hides in a bus and proceeds to kill 2 more walkers before losing his knife. You know what else he should have lost? His hand. Because he puts it in front of these walkers both times. Ricky grabs Ralphie and takes him away, leaving Shane trapped. In the B storyline, which I wasn't even going to mention, but I felt like it's important due to the events, Laurie goes to clean Beth's room since Beth is a teenager and can't clean up after themselves. Am I right, guys? High five. She notices that the knife is missing, so goes back to get it as Beth wants to self-exterminate. Andrea mentions how Laurie was wrong for taking the knife away, and she should let Beth do what Beth wants to do. Laurie responds with self-exterminating isn't an option, but like, come on. I don't agree with Andrea at all, but saying it isn't allowed after Laurie left poor Jackie to blow up in the CDC is a bit strange. Now, what's the difference between Beth and Jackie? Maggie is trying to persuade her sister to live, so Beth says,
We should both do it.
No.
It's hard to do it.
And then it would be over. Or we'd be forced to do it when the farm in this house is overrun.
I'm sure that won't happen. You will both have lovely lives. Andrea tells Maggie that she will look after Beth so she can go and get some rest. However, as soon as she leaves, so does Andrea.
Guess what? You're a bitch.
Maggie comes back and finds out Beth has locked herself in the bathroom. It turns out Beth broke the mirror and spilled ketchup all over herself. The silly Billy. Andrea comes over to check what happened and is all like, she wants to leave. I told you so. Everybody, look how smart I am. And you know what? It makes me really upset that Dale saved her in season 1. Rick comes back for Shane, although saying that, the back of the bus isn't locked, so he could have made it out himself. Anyway, Shane hops in the car, then they run over a walker, then drive off. They end up putting Ralph back in the trunk, which I think is a bit unnecessary. Rick then tells Shane that he needs to do a better job at killing him next time, so Shane's like,
challenge accepted. No.
Daryl is beaten on Ralphie, so Ralph tries to convince him to stop by giving some information on his old group.
These people took me in. Men and women, kids too, just like you people. But one night, we found this little campsite. Man and his 2 daughters, teenagers, you know, real young, real cute.
Yeah, saying you participated in gang no-no might not be the best thing to say. Daryl comes out and tells everyone that if Ralph's group find them, then they're gonna take their farm, eliminate all the men, and the women and children are gonna wish they were dead. So Rick says we need to kill them, but you will never guess what. Dale has a problem with it. I don't know why he does, but he does. Ralph is eavesdropping on Shane and Andrea when someone pays him a visit. He tries to track Carl up, but Carl's like, your soul will be mine. But before Carl can reap this man's soul, Shane comes in to hold him back. Later on in the day, he is sat by Sophia's grave when Carol comes over and says she's in a better place.
No, she's not. I raped her myself.
A few moments later.
Now he's goofing around with Daryl's bike. When he snoops for his gun, he heads off into the woods and finds a stuck walker. He goes to blow its brains out, but the walker starts to get free, so he runs off home. Herschel gives Glenn a watch as a symbol that he isn't racist and he trusts him with his daughter. Then the gang along sit down to discuss Ralph and what they should do with him. Dale still thinks they should let him live, where the rest of the group would rather not have a predator walking among them.
You once said, we don't kill the living.
Yeah, about that. Long story short, they decide to execute him. But just before Rick pulls the trigger...
Do it, Dad. Do it.
Jokes aside, this kid is either the devil's spawn or seriously corrupt. The execution gets put on hold, which is great news for Dale, who is currently walking past some burnt walkers. He stumbles upon old Betty, who seems to be made into an early steak, when he gets jumped from behind. Daryl rushes over and tackles the walker off him. Remember, Daryl is meant to be an asshole this season. Carl realizes that is the same walker that he failed to kill. In other words, Dale dying is 100% Carl's fault. So Daryl puts him out of his pain. He puts Dale down, not Carl, just in case anyone thought Daryl just turned and shot Carl.
Sorry, brother.
Rick is monologuing again at Dale's funeral when we get random cuts to the group securing the farm and killing 7 walkers. They're using melee weapons now, which is an improvement. Oh, I almost forgot to count the cow. Rick has changed his mind and now wants to take Ralph off site to set him free, which I'm not even going to comment on that stupidity. Shane mentions how it's a bad plan, so Rick tells him to
swallow it.
Gosh, Rick, buy him dinner first. Shane starts to work on his radio tower when Laurie comes over and makes everything so much worse.
It's like that time you showed up Rick fixing our sink.
Just so you know, that's not the reason your basement flooded. You thank Rick for that.
Please come down. I made a mess of things and put you and Rick at odds. I don't even know whose baby this is. You let us out of Atlanta with no thought for yourself. And I never thanked you for that. Even though things got confused between us, you were there for me. You were there for me. Thank you.
You don't need to thank me for that.
Of course I do. Of course I do. Whatever happened between us, whatever the hell we thought it was, and not just you, but I'm sorry. Please believe me, I am so sorry.
I hate you so so much. You not only told him that he's better than Rick, you also said that the child's probably his, and you did in fact love him. Bearing in mind, she said this to Rick.
You killed the living to protect what's yours? Shane thinks I'm his. He thinks the baby's his.
I'm curious who is on Laurie's side this season. You there, in your pajamas watching this video on your iPhone. Whose side are you on? Rick goes to talk to Carl about what happened to Dale and how it's not his fault at all. He then gives him a new gun since he lost the last one and tells him that people die, get over it. Daryl is all set to take Ralph out in the wild and set him free, but when T-Dog goes to retrieve him, he's missing. It turns out Shane kidnapped him, or adult napped him. One of the two. They walk past a tree and I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think they step on a big stick and break it. But hey, it's off camera, so how am I supposed to know? Shane comes back around the corner and faceplants a tree. Oh, I got my neat glasses as well. He finds a way home and tells the group that Ralph knocked him out and stole his gun, which is strange because that didn't happen at all. Oh wait, he's lying. Don't let Laurie find out.
So on top of everything else, he lied.
They go out searching. Rick and Shane are on one team, and Daryl and Glenn are another. Except this team has an actual tracker who, believe it or not, can track. Daryl finds Ralph and Shane's tracks, so they follow him, which leads to a walker. Hey, it's Ralph, who is a walker now. Wait, does this mean that Shane killed him? Silly me. I thought it was a stick he snapped, not a neck. Let me just fix my mistake. Now that's sorted, I can add Walker Ralph to the tool. Daryl checks out a dead Ralph, which sounds a bit strange, but notices that Ralph died to a neck snap and no walkers bit him, yet he still came back. The plot thickens. Meanwhile, Shane and Rick are heading back to the farm when Shane decides enough is enough. I think we all know what's going to happen here, but I made a little edit just to show the events.
I had a friend. He was my partner. I love Shane. I had to accept that. And I was in the hospital. I did, Shane. Is a man that I love. I love him like he's my brother. My friend. That is my best friend. Why? There is still a way back from this. Together.
Finish him.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Shane is dead.
Fatality.
It's a sad story, which I, without a doubt, blame Laurie. Walker visions start appearing in dead Shane's head, which is confusing. Does every dead person experience this? Carl comes over and points his gun at Rick, then fires, hitting a walker-fied Shane in the head. And guess what? I'm going to complain about this scene as well. Carl aims his son at Rick's head. He does. Shane hasn't even resurrected, and Carl's gun is already aimed. So if anyone tells me otherwise, then you are in fact brainless. But one more thing, that's a risky ass shot to make. Look at that. Season 1 Rick couldn't even make that shot. Anyway, you didn't come here to listen to me chat shit, or maybe you did. Nevertheless, the shot was super loud, which caused a faraway horde to hear. I don't know how I didn't hear Shane's pistol shot, but I guess that doesn't matter. Let us move on to the next episode, as I'm going on a tangerine here. We open the last episode of season 2 back in the city with 2 dead walkers, make that 3, and a dead dog, which will not be added to the toll. Why, you may ask? Well, my curious friend, it's because this is the same dog from the first episode. It even has the same walkers around it. They're enjoying a little Scooby snack when a helicopter flies over, so they follow it, as walkers will always pick noise over food until the plot demands otherwise. They pass a corpse hanging out of a car, then follow it some more, and some more, and some more, until they hear a gunshot. Daryl and Glenn arrive back and tell the group that Ralph was a walker, but wasn't bit. Rick goes to tell the little psycho about Shane, however he is interrupted by the horde. They run to the house, but somehow get cut off by the walkers. I don't know how this happened. We can see the walkers are this far behind in this shot, and now they're in front of them. Make it make sense. They get into a barn and set up a trap. The plan is to Home Alone style this bitch. The walkers get in, so they set it alight, burning the place down. I would love to count the walkers here, but since they never show a clear angle, it's close to impossible. This is the clearest one I could find. I know, shocking that this is the best. But once the fire starts, they all blend into one, so it's extremely difficult to tally them up. Let me do the normal for scenes like this by boosting the brightness and contrast, then get out my trusty red pen.
6.5 hours later.
I tallied up 22 walkers here. I am open to suggestions if anyone knows a better way to count, as I'm not really happy with this section of the death toll. Back at the house, the group are arming up as they aren't going down for a fight. They drive out to the burning barn, and let me show you the confirmed deaths. I may need to cheat it slightly. Instead of adding the deaths to their face like I've been doing, I'm going to need to add it to the top right, as there are so many miscellaneous bodies that are only on screen for a second, and that's not enough time to add them to the toll using the Brainless method. Okay, that's done. Let's go back to the normal way of doing things. I will only use this method one more time this video. Carl and Rick are stuck in the burning barn, which begs the question, what was their escape plan here? Doesn't matter as this guy pulls up to save them. He goes to leave, but these walkers gain some intelligence and open the RV door. Let's just go back to the walker side of the toll. Rick and Carl head into the woods, leaving everyone else to die. Herschel is achieving his last stand by killing 7 walkers. Sorry about the last few. Laura and Carl are in the way as they're looking for Carl. Yep, Carl just left without telling anyone. Before we check on Laurie, there are 2 bodies in the background. Bah! Bah! There we go. Laurie kills 1 walker, then tries to get Herschel to leave, but he would rather stay and die than leave with Laurie. Which is ridiculous. Just because you leave with Laurie doesn't mean you automatically die. Oh, this lady's dead. T-Dog runs over a walker, and Andrea gets out killing a further 2, then saves Carol's life. She kills 1 more, but this last guy falls on top of her. T-Dog says this and says,
I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. This shit, I'm out.
Leaving both Andrea and Carol to die. At least them 2 are together though. Herschel's still standing. Yeah. Killing walkers. Yeah. We do have fun here. He gets flanked, but Ricky Doodar Grimes comes to rescue him. They all leave, killing 1 more walker for the fun of it. Herschel does smack this one, but we see it chasing the car when they leave. What's sad is also leave Andrea behind. But where's Carol? The last we saw, they were together. Daryl is watching the place burn when he hears screaming. It's Carol! Good thing that her and Andrea split up. There's no way that they could both fit on the back of that bike. They ride off, passing 1 more dead body. Everyone regroups at the highway.
Where'd you find everyone? This guy's taillights zigzagging all over the road. Figured he had to be Asian driving like that.
Whoa, that sounds a bit racially motivated. The group want to go back for Andrea, but Rick's like, no. She pointed a gun at me a few weeks ago and it really hurt my feelings. So they leave her to die. A walker starts coming, so Daryl puts it down, then they leave. Speaking of Andrea, she's still alive, running through the woods, trying to escape the dead. She stomps this walker's head in, then shoots 3 more. Before running out of ammo, so she resorts a pistol weapon. She doesn't have the energy to kill the third, but before it gets a bite, a dark figure saves her. Wow, she has 3 walkers on leashes. This is Maggie's dream. The group run out of gas, so spend the night. Rick tells the group about what Dr. Jenner told him in the CDC. Let me play it out for you kind folk who have gone this far in the video.
Wayne Dunlap, Georgia license, born 1979.
What?
At the CDC, Jenner told me he had $28 in his pocket when he died. And a picture of a pretty girl. With love from Rachel.
And you never said anything?
What, it made a difference?
Okay, when I found out about
He's an organ donor.
I told for the good of everyone.
Well, I thought it best if people didn't know.
Yep, that's how that scene went. I don't want anyone to say otherwise. He tells the group that everyone's infected, and no matter how you die, you will return as a walker. Hold on a minute. So at the start of the season, when you told Morgan,
the CDC was a dead end. I met a man there, a scientist. He told me it doesn't matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter? That was some important shit. Rick tells Laurie that he killed Shane, and she pulls this face. Bish? You were the one who asked him to do it?
Carl put him down.
Don't blame Rick. If you did your one job, which was look after your son instead of letting him wander off into a dark forest where monsters live, then this wouldn't be a problem. At night, some people told him about leaving the group, but Rick tells them that it's a dictatorship now.
Maybe you people are better off without me.
Maybe I'm fooling myself again. Well, why don't you go and find out yourself? Send me a postcard.
Go on, there's the door.
Let's see how far you get.
No takers? Fine, but get one thing straight. You're staying. This isn't a democracy anymore.
It's his way or the highway, and since people don't want to end up like Sophia, they stick with Rick. We have reached the end of the season, so now it's time to get to the toll. There were 260 deaths added to the toll. 8 of those were human, 10 animals, 31 I still can't say that word. Let me do a quick Google.
Unidentifiable. Unidentifiable.
There were 31
Unidentifiable.
bodies and a massive 211 walkers. Most deaths took place in episode 13, titled Beside the Dying Fire, which had 97 confirmed kills. I think everyone could have guessed that would be the outcome. The least amount of deaths took place in episode 4, titled Cherokee Rose, which only had the 1. If you are wondering how I made sure not to double count any other walkers during the farm invasion scene, it's pretty simple. I counted the ones we see die on screen, then I write down what they were wearing and where they were when they died. Then I count the bodies that are on the ground, and if any of them are dressed the same or in the same location to the ones I've already added, I just don't add them. It's a long process, but I do it for you. There won't be a trailer at the end of this video, as I have no clue what I'm going to cover next, so I'm just going to leave that down to the audience. But no matter what, I hope to see you in a bit.